Hey everyone, and welcome. So, are you thinking about finding a new place to call home around Crittenden? Well, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're going to dive into the whole rental application process with Desert Management, breaking it all down step by step so you know exactly what's up. Our whole goal here is to make your journey to a new home as smooth and simple as possible. We're going to take the mystery out of the application process with Desert Management right here in Crittenden, Kentucky. Okay, so here's our game plan. First, we'll get properly introduced to Desert Management. Then, we'll walk through exactly how you start an application, cover all the stuff you'll need to bring with you, and then get into the approval requirements. And to wrap it all up, we'll take a peek inside a sample listing so you can see what they offer. First things first, let's get to know the company we're talking about. This is all about giving you the background on Desert Management, just setting the stage so you feel totally confident when you're ready to apply for your next home in the Crittenden area. So you've been looking around, you found a property that you really like. Now what? What's the very first thing you need to do? Let's get right into the nuts and bolts of how you officially kick off the rental process with Desert Management. All right, and this is a really big one. There are no online applications. You have to do the whole thing in person. You can just stop by their office. It's at 115 North Main Street in Crittenden. Or, you could schedule an appointment to go in and fill out the paperwork. It's really just a simple three-step start. First, you pop into the office. Second, you fill out the application right then and there. And third, just know that it'll take about 3 to 5 business days for them to process everything. That time frame can kind of depend on how clearly the application's filled out, so definitely take your time with it. Okay, so you know where you're going and what the first few steps are. Now, to make that visit super smooth and efficient, let's run through a quick checklist of everything you're going to need to have with you. First thing on the list is the application fee. It's $50 per adult. And just so we're clear, an adult is anyone 18 or older who's going to be living in the home. And you've got a bunch of ways to pay, which is great. As you can see, they take cash, debit, and credit cards, checks, money orders, you name it. But here's a little pro tip. If you're going to pay with cash, try to bring the exact amount because the office usually doesn't have change. Next up on our checklist, your ID. You're going to need to bring 2 different forms of government-issued identification with you. So let's break that down. One of them has to be a photo ID. Think driver's license, passport, that kind of thing. For the second one, it can be something like your social security card, or hey, even another photo ID works. Okay, so you did it. You submitted your application. What happens now? Let's pull back the curtain on the screening process and look at the key things Desert Management looks for to approve an application. So they do run a standard credit and background check. The minimum credit score you need to have is 600. It's also worth keeping in mind that some properties, especially apartments, might have even higher requirements. So that's just something to be aware of. And now, for the million-dollar question, or at least the how much do I need to make question. This is probably the most important financial piece of the puzzle. How much income do you actually need to qualify? The rule of thumb here is actually pretty straightforward. Your total gross monthly income has to be at least 3 times the monthly rent. And remember, that's the combined gross income, so before taxes, of everybody who's going to be on that lease. And this little chart makes it super easy to see how it works. So for a place that has a rent of $1,000 a month, the total household gross income would need to be at least $3,000. Yep, it's that simple. And of course, they are going to verify that income. You'll need to bring some paperwork to prove it, like your most recent pay stub, your W-2 from last year, or your tax return. Just be ready to show proof for the income you put down on your application. All right, we've gone through all the rules and requirements. Now for the really fun part. Let's take everything we just learned and see how it applies to a real-world example of a property they had available recently. So check this out. Here's a sample duplex. It's got 2 bedrooms and 1.5 baths. Downstairs, you've got your living room, kitchen, and the half bath. Then you go upstairs for the 2 bedrooms and the full bathroom. And a huge bonus, it's got washer and dryer hookups right there on the first floor. So convenient. Now, for this particular place, the tenant handles paying for water, sewer, and electricity. And you really got to pay attention to this next part because they are very clear about it. Absolutely no pets are allowed. The monthly rent for this 2-bedroom duplex is $1,100. And the security deposit you'd need is also $1,100, so equal to 1 month's rent. Those are the 2 big costs you'd want to be ready for when you sign the lease. And finally, it's really important to share the company's commitment to fair housing. Desert Management does not deny applications for housing based upon race, color, religion, sex, disability, familial status, or national origin. And there you have it. That's the complete roadmap to renting with Desert Management, from what you need to bring to the office all the way to what they look for in an application. So I guess the only question left is, are you ready to take that first step? Good luck out there on your housing search.